Hey everyone! Today, let's talk about one of the most basic tools we use every single day, the command line. For a long time, tools like Tmux have been the go-to standard. But what if there's a simpler, more elegant way to get things done? Let's dive in.
So I want you to ask yourself a question. Just take a look at your current terminal setup. You've got panes inside of tabs, which are inside of windows. Are you constantly fighting with key bindings that clash with your shell or your editor or whatever app you're actually trying to run? You know what I'm talking about. It's a super common frustration, and it really makes you wonder, is our terminal just trying to do way too much?
And that brings us to the core conflict, right here. On the one hand, you've got the traditional way of doing things, the all-in-one multiplexer. Think Tmux. It's basically a window manager that lives inside your terminal. But on the other hand, there's this totally different philosophy. You use your operating system's native window manager for all the visuals, and you have a separate focus tool for just one thing, making sure your session doesn't die. So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the problem with that redundant window manager. Then we'll dig into this new philosophy. We'll see what a tool that only does session persistence looks like. Then, my favorite part, the ultimate SSH workflow that this unlocks. And we'll wrap it all up with a bigger idea, a kind of contract for building better, small tools. All right, let's get into it. Part 1, the redundant window manager. And I love the subtitle here, the problem with having two steering wheels, right? You got one for your car, that's your OS, and then you've got another one bolted to the dashboard just for making turns inside the car. It just doesn't feel right, does it? And that's the heart of the issue. When you run something like Tmux, you've got two different systems trying to manage your windows. And this isn't just a little clunky. It actually creates a huge bottleneck. Think about it. For any cool new terminal feature to work, like maybe better graphics or custom fonts, both your terminal app and your multiplexer have to support it. It just slows everything down. Which brings us to a new way of thinking about this. It's a philosophy that's probably familiar to anyone who spent time on the command line. Do one thing and do it perfectly. Instead of a single giant tool that tries to do everything, the idea is to have small, sharp tools that just work together beautifully. And this new approach has a name, Focus Session Persistence. A tool that follows this philosophy has one single job. Keep your sessions alive if you get disconnected. That's it. Everything else, making new windows, splitting panes, arranging stuff on your screen, all of that gets handed off to the tool that already knows how to do it best, your operating system. So let's get practical for a second. If a tool completely gives up on all its windowing features, what's actually left? What does it even give you? Let's break down what a tool built this way really provides. The feature list is actually really simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Of course, it keeps your sessions going. It lets you attach and detach whenever you want. It perfectly restores your terminal state, scrollback, and all. You can even have multiple people connect to the same session. But look at that last point, because it's the most important one. It deliberately does not do windows, tabs, or splits. And that's not a bug, it's a feature. That is the whole point. So how does this all work behind the scenes? It's actually really clever. As you're working, everything you see on your terminal screen is also being mirrored to a state tracker in the background. That tracker is building a perfect byte-for-byte replica of your session. So when you disconnect, and then you come back later to reattach, the tracker just sends a complete snapshot to your new terminal. And poof, you are right back where you left off. It's seamless. Okay, this next part is where this whole philosophy goes from being just a neat idea to an absolute game changer. Section 4, the ultimate SSH workflow. Seriously, for anyone who works on remote servers, this makes those remote sessions feel just as smooth and native as your local ones. It all starts with this simple little trick in your SSH config file. This control master line you see here is the secret sauce. It basically tells SSH, hey, for this server, just reuse the first connection for everything else. So the very first time you connect might take a second, but every single connection after that, it's instant. And here is the beautiful payoff. Instead of SSHing into a box and then fumbling with Tmux commands to create new panes, you just open a new native terminal tab on your own computer and run a command like sshd.term. And just like that, a new persistent session called term is either created or reattached on the remote machine. Need another one for IRC? Fine. Open another OS window. Type sshd.irc. It is just that easy. And this quote just captures that aha moment perfectly. You get all the amazing power of Tmux's session persistence, but you get to use your own native, fast, feature-rich terminal windows, tabs, and scrollback. You're not stuck in the past anymore. If your terminal can do something cool, now you can do it on your remote machine too. It's just such a powerful example of what happens when a tool focuses on doing one thing right. And that really brings us to our final section here. This whole idea of focused, simple tools, it's not just for terminals. It's a really powerful philosophy for building better software in general, something we can think of as a contract for small tools. These principles are all about clarity and focus. Solve one problem and solve it well. Make your program predictable. Keep the code simple enough that one person can actually maintain it. Make sure it plays nice with other tools. And this one's huge. Build something that can actually be considered finished. This is just a recipe for software that's reliable and, honestly, a joy to use. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Imagine your whole digital toolkit for a minute. Your code editor, your browser, your terminal. What would your workflow feel like if every single one of those tools followed this contract? What if every tool you used did just one thing and did it perfectly? It's something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.